So, are you one of these people, or maybe you know somebody that you've been truly in love with, but didn't have the courage to tell them, and now they're not in your life anymore? Or maybe you've been wanting to tell somebody that you're sorry, and you just don't have the nerve to do that. Well, if you can relate to either of these two scenarios, then you know what? Just hang out here for a little while. Half an hour. Hang out with me on the Hang Out with Penny show, because that's our topic for this week. We're going to talk about, can we be holding our love back by not having that courage to speak up? So, welcome. Welcome, everybody. It's the Hang Out with Penny show. And as you can see, I have a lovely panel again today. And so, yeah, for about 30 minutes, we're going to hang out. We're going to have some wine. Oh, I got some really good wine for you today. It's called Small Talk. This might be a little bit more big talk.
I love it. I'll go bring my glass.
Yeah, they didn't have any penny free, Lucky Penny wine, but they have Small Talk, and it's got thanks for being here, and let's have a feast, and yeah, let's do it again. So you know what? Let's pour. Ooh, do you hear that?
Good job, Penny.
Like champagne. All right, so we're gonna pour. We're gonna have a cheers. Cheers to all my new friends. Cheers to my beautiful panel at the bottom. Cheers. And guess what? Today, my flowers, they're from last week. That's how good the energy's been. With all the high vibe energies, my flowers are still beautiful from last week. But I ate all the chocolate. So now we're having grapes. See what I do with my grapes? I put my grapes in a wine glass. That's what I do. So I'm going to eat fruit for a little while because, you know, I want to take a little bit of weight off, and so I'm going to treat my body with some fruits and vegetables. You know what? I just want to show you something with the flowers. I kind of clean them up a little bit, and you know what I do? In case you're interested, I keep all the rose petals, and then I dry them. And then if you have a bath, you can put them in the bath, or you can put them, I use my feet lots, and I put them in my soap water, or you know what you can do? You can put them on the bed.
Okay,
sounds like
so
fun.
Penny, I have a question.
Okay.
How do you stop them from shriveling up and/or turning brown and getting too dark? Because I love that idea of keeping the rose petals. I just don't know what to do after they get too dry.
You might have to look that up, because I always use mine before that happens.
You use them all up, see?
I always drink the wine before it goes flat or whatever.
I'm obviously hoarding rose petals. That must be what I'm doing. I'll have to start spreading them out in abundance every year.
Yeah, you got to start using them. Anyway, everybody, welcome. This is the Hang Out with Penny show. And right now, first I'm going to say hi to Judy Gary and Cindy Brett. Judy's in Kentucky, and Cindy's out on a nice dinner. And so those ladies will be back with me another time. And I have a beautiful panel right now. And you know what? I think right now I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So I'm going to start with Lucinda. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what do you do.
Hi, my name is Lucinda. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, where it's 110 degrees. So I would love to be anywhere that's cooler than here right now. I'm a communications expert. I have a consulting and communications training program where I help people understand how they can say what they mean to get more of what they want, both at home and at work. And in keeping with our topic today, sometimes that takes a tremendous amount of courage. So just being able to help people to be able to step up and speak their truth is one of the things that I so enjoy doing. And the other thing that I also am very, very proud of is I have a 4-year-old son, and I'm raising him with positive language, and so I also enjoy working with parents to assist them with positive parenting techniques. So those are the things that I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Carol, let everybody know who you are.
Hello, I am Carol. I live in Chicago, Illinois, and I founded and run a nonprofit organization called Positive Focus, and I also do positivity coaching. And I think that this is a great topic because it's so easy to go on past hurts that keep us stuck when we're dealing with love. So to remain positive and keep focused on what you want rather than what you don't want is really important and crucial.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful. So welcome, ladies. I'm so thrilled that you're here. Yeah, thank you so much. And I'm a law of attraction trainer and coach. And right now, I want to take this opportunity to thank someone that's been very influential in my life. The reason why I'm here today, doing my own hangout, and that's to Michael Loge. Many of you may recognize me from the Hangout with Michael show. I've been on there for the last 46 shows or something.
let's just say almost a year.
Yeah. But because of this huge opportunity that he has given to me by allowing me into his hangout as a regular, it's given me the opportunity to expand my own courageousness. He would say, is that even a word? But anyway, he would say, I hold the courage for you. I'll hold the courage for you. And he did that. And I remember when he was first beginning his hangouts way back when, and he invited me into training part of it. And he told me, almost a year ago, he said, you're here because you're going to be doing this. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was too afraid to tell anybody my name, let alone say I'm going to be doing a hangout show. But you know what? He had the courage for me. And so Michael Loge, thank you so very much. You're dear to my heart. And yeah. So you know what? I'm going to start by saying I love you. Yeah, because I do. Oh, sorry. So that is the topic today, is can we, oh boy, it can be a tough thing sometimes to tell somebody that you love them. I mean, no, okay, so with Michael, it's a friendship. It's an endearment. It's close to my heart. But what if it's a real relationship? What if you're in a real relationship where you feel that this relationship is developing and you're wanting it to become something maybe permanent? You're going to spend the rest of your life with this person, and yet neither one of you have been able to say that you love one another because of a fear that's held you back from possibly a past relationship. So it can be a very trying time because one's waiting for the other to say it, and the other's waiting for the other one to say it, and sometimes it never gets said. And what do we do? What do we do? Can we go back? Do we learn from that and move forward? What do we do? I'm going to share a story with you from somebody that I have two stories, but I'll tell you one right now. And this man I know, he and this his girlfriend, they were dating for 8 months, and he was totally in love with her. She had never expressed her feelings towards him, and so after 8 months, he really didn't think that there was any point in going any further because he didn't think there was anything to go further with. So he ended the relationship. Heartbroken. He was heartbroken, but he ended the relationship. She was heartbroken, but she, okay, that. 3 months later, though, she calls him. She called him up and said, can we have coffee? So they went and had coffee, and they began to talk. And it came out that he said, I'm totally in love with you, and I didn't know where you were in the relationship. And she said, I couldn't tell you that because of past relationships. The fear I had from past relationships, I couldn't have the courage to tell you that. Well, the good news is they began dating all over again, and they've been married, I think, for over 7 years. Yeah, it was a happy ending, but what if she didn't make that phone call? There are two people that were totally in love that may have missed that opportunity. So, I'm looking for happy endings.
And Penny, can I just add to that? I mean, I think that ending is amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. But I think also just if one person does open up and say it, and it isn't reciprocal, at least you know, and you can end it and move on to a relationship that is reciprocal instead of keep waiting and dancing and thinking, do they, don't they, what's going on here? So, even if you don't get the outcome you want, it's still a good conversation to have.
It's similar. I was in a relationship in the past when we hit a rough patch, and I wasn't sure how to even communicate that because, it wasn't a function of do I love you or not. It was a function of how do I express maybe some needs that aren't being met, and how do I do that in a way that doesn't jeopardize the relationship. So, and in the past I haven't done that very well, and I can fully claim that because each relationship that I've had in the past has brought me to the situation where I am now. And so now, having the courage to step up or speak out when there's something that's bothering me, I probably still do it imperfectly, and I'm okay with that. But at least being able to speak up, you don't live with the what if. And Penny, I think that you would agree that living with a what if is actually, I think, sometimes worse than living with rejection, because your what if is all about what I could have done, what I should have said, and no one wants to ever live like that. At least you have to eventually somehow get to a point where you can do something differently.
The rejection gives you closure, and the what if, you have no closure on it.
You have no closure. You have no closure. That's absolutely right. And on last episode, it was all about talking about negative self-talk, and could we be sabotaging ourselves from love? Mm-hmm. And this fits right into this whole conversation. And so I really love what you said, Carol, that rejection is still a closure, as opposed to what if, and it's always the wishful thinking, the what if. We can really spiral down easily. Yeah.
And there's another piece to this that I think some people are truly afraid to express. When you can be strong enough to say something and you are vulnerable, then you're actually going to create a stronger bond when it's reciprocated. Like Carol talked about with the reciprocal. So reciprocal is so important, because if you're in it by yourself, then it's going to continue to be painful. When you're in a situation where you can you can open up and say, here's how I'm feeling. It's scary, it's wonderful, it's fabulous, it's amazing, it's all of those things. But just to be able to express it and know that you're in a place where it can be accepted and possibly returned, then it takes your relationship to a different level, a better level in a lot of ways, because you're being true. It's your true self with that other person's true self.
Well, and I think of it sometimes because I think vulnerability is so hard for most people. I know it is for me. But when people open up and are vulnerable with me, I am so much closer to them because I'm honored that they feel safe enough with me to be vulnerable. Yes. And so I just have to remember that when it's my turn, that they're going to feel that same honor too. It may not necessarily be the outcome I want, but people generally are very receptive to vulnerability. Again, you may not get the, oh yeah, I love you too, but they're honored to hold that space for you.
Yes, and it feels good when you can get that courage and just release that fear enough to feel that vulnerability and speak up and say what it is that you feel. Or there's been many years where I've held things in, and a friend of mine, she would say, well, did you tell him? Did you ask him? And I'm like, no. What's that? I didn't want to rock the boat, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
That's
in case,
job.
Right?
That's his job to do. Yeah, exactly.
And possibly there could have been a different outcome if I had have been able to say more how I felt in the relationship. And so I've learned a lot too. And that's why I'm doing these hangouts, just because we get together as girlfriends and it's Friday night and just sit around, and these are the kind of conversations that are very important, because sometimes we can just push them under the carpet. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about it, but it's important to talk about it. Mm-hmm. And it's important when you have a desire in your heart and to die with that without having the ability to express it. Yeah. Have you ever heard of a scenario where there's been a couple that they've split up, and years and years and years and years and years later, their paths cross again, and the subject comes up and said, "I was so in love with you. Like, why didn't you tell me?" So they went all those years, and their life went on. But why didn't you tell me? So now I'm going to share another story about a dear, dear friend of mine, and she met this man during some training, and so she fell in love with him during this training. So their last day, the training was all over. It was over a period of time, and this was their last day that they were going to see each other because everything was complete. So she was leaving, and she turned back. She turned back, and she went to him, and she said, "I'm in love with you." She didn't know what was going to happen. She didn't know what the outcome was going to be. She just knew that this was her only opportunity, that she was going to be able to say what was in her heart. Hey, they've been married for, I don't know, 23 years now. So, yeah,
and
happy endings happen.
I love that story, and I think what's interesting, I mean, obviously saying the words, "I love you," are incredibly important. And we often don't say it because we're not sure that they feel the same way. But if you know people's love languages, maybe they're showing you that they love you in different ways. We tend to show people that we love them the way we want to be loved. So they may be giving you little gifts or doing whatever it is their love language. And so you do know that they feel that way. They just haven't expressed it in the way you want to hear it.
I love what you're saying about those love languages, because I know that's one of the things that I'm one of the love languages where it doesn't matter to me what we do, as long as, like, we could sit on the sofa all night and just the actual being near each other, and at one point in time I was dating somebody who was acts of service. You know how hard that is, because not because I couldn't do that for him, but just because he would go, and this was this was in college days, so it was, so long ago, but, he'd want to, like, wash my car and do all this stuff, and at the time I didn't appreciate it because all I wanted him to do was sit on the sofa with me. And now, oh my God, I would, like, throw my arms around him and, cover him in kisses and say, "You cleaned my car." So
it is good. Yeah, because I think, especially like for you, the quality time, and he was active service. So at that time of your life, active service was probably your very lowest.
Yes.
Because we each have a little bit of all of them.
Yes, agreed.
So you didn't even see, you're like, "Why are you doing that? Come over here and snuggle with me on the couch. We can take the car to someplace else,
Yeah. Like, I don't care if
it's totally showing he loved you by that.
I totally remember one of the things I said to him was, "I don't care how dirty the car is. I just want to, could we just, like, go do something?"
He was doing something. He was cleaning your car.
Part of me is like, oh, I was 19 and, still learning. I'd use the S word, but then my 4-year-old would say, "Mommy, we don't say stupid."
Hey, Penny?
Here's the book, yeah.
I'm just going to say, I wasn't sure if people knew what we were talking about. Can you talk about the...
There you go. Yeah.
And I love that book. I mean, obviously it's written for romantic relationships, but for me, I like knowing what their love languages are. Because sometimes I have friends that quality time is their biggest one, and when I get really busy, they don't feel loved by me because I'm not giving them quality time. So I just think it's a huge thing to know, regardless if it's romantic or just friendship.
Yes. One of my best friends is the gifts. Like, if I, and it's so simple and so easy. And again, it's not one of my dominant ones, obviously, but, sending a card, or just, every time she sends me something in the mail, she includes, like, this little, like a little chocolate if it's a package, or she'll say, "Oh, I thought of you," and, like, I get these little things from her, and I know that that's her expressing love for me, which is amazing, and I'm like, can you call me on the phone? Can we hang out? Because she lives in a different state. And
Right.
so for me, I just want to sit in her kitchen, and she just wants to give me things.
Yeah, but
we know that. But knowing that about each other, it makes a difference.
That she's giving you love, yeah.
Now I do,
yeah.
yes,
yeah.
and it's marvelous.
I have a sister who tends to be that way, giving little gifts and things. I'm like, why are you doing that? Just let's talk or whatever.
Yeah.
Once I read that book, I'm like, oh, her language is gifts. So.
And just say thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Just say thank you.
Yeah, the ability, I think, sometimes it's really the thing about the 5 love languages is there was also a spin-off book about ways to say I don't remember if it was 5, but it was the languages of apology, because the other key thing, instead of just the I love you part, is the I'm sorry. Being able to say I'm sorry in a way that people can receive is so super important. And those are the 2 biggest emotional moments that 2 people can have. It doesn't matter if it's a coworker or if it's your best friend or if it's your lover. The point being that those are emotional, vulnerable moments, so the other there's a book that he also did about languages of apology, something that I'm going to have to go find the book now. Penny, I apologize.
Me too. I'm not aware of that book. I have to read it.
Some future hangout, I'll be like,
episode number 5.
Remember episode 2? This is for episode 2. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought up the I'm sorry, because that can really cause grief in a relationship, really, because of one's waiting for the other person to say sorry, and sometimes our pride will hold us back from saying I'm sorry, because sometimes we don't think that we did anything wrong. But I like to just say, like I learned this when I was in Hawaii, and it's a forgiveness technique, and it's Ho'oponopono. But when we say I'm sorry, that actually it doesn't require anything from the other person. But when we say please forgive me, then there's an energy exchange that can happen. So whether that person says yes, I can forgive you, or maybe no, I can't, there's still the energies moving that in time that could change to yes, I can. So it's just everything's energy, like the law of attraction. That's what it is. It's an energy that we put out. And so when we're going to put out, oh, I almost spilt my wine.
Uh-oh. Save the wine. Save the
wine. Because whatever it is that we put out, we're going to get back. Yeah. So when we can take the courage, when we can take that courage and tell that person, whether it's our parent or whether it's our child or whether it's our lover or whether it's our husband or wife or significant other, we can take that courage and tell them from our heart that we love you, that I love you, then the law of attraction will respond to that. Sometimes it's not in the way we think or we expect, but love always comes back as love. Always.
I have a question for you, though, Penny. I mean, I absolutely agree. But I was just thinking, especially depending on what age the audience of who listens to this in the future, when you're in a relationship and you stand up and decide to say I love you, that is an amazing, powerful time in the right timing. If you're on date 2 and you say I love you, they may run the other way.
Be prepared for the outcome and just let go of any attachment. And so on the second...
One thing there's just one thing I wanted to mention, going back to the I'm sorry. There are some people, when they say I'm sorry, that feel the need to qualify it. I'm sorry, but I was really upset. And just as a communication technique to share with people, I'm sorry, period.
Period.
I'm sorry. Just those 2 words, and again, I so agree, Penny, with what you said about please forgive me, because that is a powerful thing to say to someone else. So if you're one of those people that still feels the need that you have to justify yourself, just bite your tongue and just know that the best thing you can possibly say is just I'm sorry.
Yeah, because the justifying is lessening the power of the apology.
Yep. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And it still makes it about you, not about the healing. You know, like that.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of one of those signposts that I would tell people is a signature that things actually really aren't okay. And you know, there's a process that people go through, and it's okay that there's a process. However, I'm sorry, and is in and of itself sufficient. Yeah.
Mm. Ladies, this has been quite a half an hour.
Time flies.
Is it already up?
It's,
do we add more
time? So before I get your final words on this incredible topic, I think we definitely need a part 2 and 3 and 4 to this, because there's so much. This was totally just us getting together, and one thing leads to another as far as topics, as far as the conversation goes. So I just want everybody to know for next week, episode 3, oh boy, this is going to be a good one for anybody that's considering online dating. For anybody that's considering, maybe you already are, maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you don't know what to do, but we have a very special guest, Michael Auger, the how-to guy with a law of attraction, but he's going to teach us. He's going to teach us language strategies for creating your online dating profile. This is going to be good.
Oh, that'll be juicy.
Penny, do you have your online dating profile as part of next week's show then?
Well, we're going to do it probably as part of the show.
That'll be the homework. That'll be the takeaway.
So that's going to be a really good one.
1-800 call Penny.
I'm gonna need to drink a whole lot of wine before the show. I can tell you.
We'll all bring wine next week.
Awesome.
So you gotta stay tuned for that one next Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then for anybody that's that they love angels or they ask the universe for signs, I got a really good guest coming up in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. Oh my God, episode 2 already. Can we actually hold back the love we deserve by fear of speaking from our heart? And the answer is yes. So, you know, we all have to make the decision ourselves on what it is that we're going to say and when. But I just hope it just truly comes from your heart. And hey, anything can happen. That's my motto. Anything can happen.
That's right.
And so, Lucinda, final words?
You know, I've so enjoyed being on the show tonight, and the one thing that I would just like to say is remember that at any point in time you can say what you mean and get more of what you want.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Lucinda. Carol, oh my goodness, it's been so great that you've been with us. What a conversation we've had. Oh, I love your energy. Final words?
It's been so much fun, and I think for me the important part is to speak from your heart, and the answer may not be in that moment what you think you want, but in the end it will be exactly what you need, and everything's going to be fine.
And that's true. And I'll speak from some experience, and it wasn't about the word love, but it was just about asking. I took courage and I asked somebody for something, and the answer was no. But that was okay because I just knew that I was going to just let go of any attachment to the answer, because it really was about the answer. It was about me being able to step into my truth and just say what I wanted to say. And that, my whole world is opened up with yeses and yeses and yeses and yeses. So speak from the heart. Well, I guess that about wraps up episode number 2.
Yay!
Oh my gosh! So thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you all next week. And small talk. This is good wine too. So we're going to end the broadcast now, and remember, when the law of attraction, whatever you put out there comes back. So the more love, the better. Bye, everybody.